Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, and welcome to another edition of Queer News Live. Family, you know what we do. We do queer news right here on E3 Radio, your number one stop for queer news done right. This is our Queer News Live edition. You know, we're coming to you every Monday by 7 o'clock p.m. Chicago time and on Thursdays at 12 o'clock Central. So I'm figuring if I can't catch you at night on Mondays, maybe you join us during lunch on Thursdays. And if you can't catch us live on either day, you decide to watch this back on our YouTube channel at E3 Radio, the number 3 radio. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you always know when we're going live. And the whole point here, and it always has been the point, is to amplify LGBTQ stories, especially those happening at the intersections of race and sexuality. That's what we do on our podcast that drops every Monday morning by 9 a.m. Chicago time. 5 or 6 queer news stories that I think you should know about. The news is a lie. It's a whole lot. Our algorithms are inundated, but sometimes you just want the roundup. That's what I'm here for. Okay. That's what we do right here on E3 Radio. And I'm excited because I've got some news to share today. Okay. And I am excited to share it with you. I am now the new queer news contributor on the CityCast Chicago podcast. Yo, let's go. Let's go. Clap it up. I'm really excited about this. I auditioned. Well, first off, I had to apply. Let's start there. And I want to give a big shout out to my friend Jake Whittick, who is the managing editor of Windy City Times, our legacy LGBTQ news outlet here in the city of Chicago. He sent me a text and said, Anna, I really think you should apply for this. And I said, Jake, thank you. I sure will. That led to an interview. That led to a live audition a few weeks ago. And I felt all the love and support from everybody. Okay. And then I got word that I got the job. And so yesterday was my first real non-audition episode on the CityCast podcast. So go check it out. I was excited actually to share about this new lesbian neighborhood dive bar. They're calling it a queer dive bar, okay? Fathom. And if you haven't heard about it, it's in Lakeview, okay? 1622. And I'm going off top of my head, okay? 1622 West Belmont. I'm almost certain. It's called Fathom. And I got to talk about them because I get to share Chicago queer news stories on this podcast, which I'm actually really excited about. Now, Fathom is owned by Whitney and Zoe, who are the owners of Dorothy. Now, Dorothy's been around since 2020, right? In Ukrainian Village. And so this is their second establishment. And they intentionally put it in Lakeview. They intentionally put it in the neighborhood. And they're intentionally saying this is for the queers, okay? Straight, y'all welcome. Okay, but this is specifically for the queers and creating a space and a bar for us. And it looks so cute. It looks so cute. Don't do like me. Go when it's open. Okay, I showed up when it wasn't. Don't do like me. They have very specific hours. They open it at 5 o'clock daily, 5 p.m. All right, they got like their own personal happy hour from 5 until 7 p.m. And then you just there to have a good time. Okay, the drinks is flowing. The drinks look delicious. Do your thing. Enjoy Fathom. We must support our own out here, especially when it comes to queer businesses, lesbian-owned businesses. And if you get down with the bar scene, it look cute, okay? It's worth checking out. It's worth supporting. Yeah, so I got to share that on this week's episode of CityCast Chicago. So find me there. Yes. So if you can't find me on the podcast, yes, find me on CityCast Chicago. Now, today's episode, I'm really excited because I have a guest joining me today, family, on Queer News Live. Our guest is from Wrightwood 659. And if you're not familiar with Wrightwood 659, let me just read to you. Okay, let me just tell you a little bit about them. I actually got to experience them last year for the first time. It is a private art I don't even know, a contemporary. Let me just read it. Let me read it because it's really hard to describe. It's a place where they put on these beautiful art exhibits. But let me read to you what they actually say about themselves. Okay. Wrightwood 659 is a contemporary exhibition space dedicated to architecture and socially engaged art. And child, all that to say, every time I've gone there, it's been queer. Okay. It's been queer up and down. And it's beautiful to see our lives in art form in this particular way. Okay. It's situated in Lincoln Park. It is literally in the middle of a neighborhood. I would imagine that many of you, if you, especially if you live on the north side or frequent the north side, have passed Wrightwood 659 and probably didn't even know it. It is literally situated in the middle of a neighborhood. And I think that that is so cool because it does make it more accessible to so many different people. Okay. It is a private, non commercial initiative conceived as an integral part of the city's cultural and civic fabric. I love it. As a distinctive new model for an art space and community resource. I agree with that. I almost want to just share my screen real quick so y'all can see. Actually, I think I am before I get Ashley to join me real quick because I got the ability to share my screen. And I think y'all really need to understand how beautiful this place is. All right. That modern architecture that it discussed, right? Oh, long, tall, open windows. Do you see these stairs? It was so cool. And art is on these walls. At least when I went, it was. And this is what I mean. You can literally walk right past it because it's right in the middle of a neighborhood. I think it is so cool. And so, without further ado, I'm just rambling because I think it's such a cool thing. I think it's cool that they do queer art here, right? And we should support it. So, I just want to welcome our special guest for today, Ashley. Welcome to Queer News Live.
I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so glad that you talked a little bit about the architecture of our building. It's such a unique gem in Chicago, and it's been such a pleasure to work there.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, the moment I walked in there the very first time, it really blew me away. I didn't know that it was that beautiful. It does not feel stuffy. It feels open and airy. And then it's huge. I also didn't realize how big it was. I walked up the stairs and you just walk back and you just keep walking back. And then you walk down some more stairs and you just keep walking back. And you walk around like this place is huge and it's a beautiful just let me just say space, but just this beautiful piece of infrastructure and architecture in the city of Chicago that I think not enough of us have actually had a chance to experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we tend to have about like 2 exhibition cycles a year. So we're in our spring summer cycle, and then we also have a fall winter cycle. And you were speaking about how we tend to have these kind of queer focused exhibitions. And I think maybe some of your audience may be familiar with our exhibition from our last spring summer cycle last year, the first homosexuals, which was an amazing exhibition of about 300 works of art from queer artists from around the world, right around the coining of the term homosexual in the 1800s. And since that exhibition, which was curated by Jonathan Katz, who actually has another exhibition at our space right now, which he co-curated. Since that exhibition, like we've really kind of just continued to increase in visibility. So it's been great.
That is the exact exhibit I came to see, the first homosexuals. And I got to do the tour with John and have him walk through the pieces. And to see the first printed works with the word homosexual in it, I mean, that was just pretty dope. Being able to see these 100-year-old pieces of artwork depicting queers out here in the world in all the ways in which they were living. And then to see the piece of Oscar Wilde is standing out to me right now. And then the piece of James Baldwin is standing out to me right now. And then there was a piece that focused on, there were pieces that focused on the Harlem Renaissance and Black queer folks as well, as part of the exhibit. And it was just the fact that there were over 300 family. I really want y'all to take that in, and how long it took to curate, and the work that it takes to put 300 pieces of unique, beautiful artwork into a space for other people to enjoy. I mean, there was just an immense amount of work that went into that.
Definitely. Jonathan Katz, he's very prolific, and he actually curated another exhibition about face at Wrightwood 659 years ago, and that was one of my first encounters with the artist Martin Wong, which we currently have up right now, which is an exhibition that I worked on with Yasufumi Nakamura. So one of our current exhibitions, Martin Wong Chinatown USA, is this not quite as prolific as the first homosexuals in scale, but still pretty sizable. We have over 100 individual objects, works of art by the artist, many which have never been seen before. And it's the largest survey of the queer Chinese American poet and painter since 2017 in the US. So it's a really kind of special exhibition with a rare opportunity to, again, see many works of art which have not been seen before or have rarely been seen. And that's really part of the mission of our gallery too, is to kind of bring visibility to underrepresented or works of art and artists.
And y'all are doing that. And let me just say, we're here to talk about the Martin Wong exhibit, okay, family? And also, I think it's important for you all also to know who Ashley is, because we just got to talking, okay? Because there's Wrightwood 659 is a special place, okay? But Ashley is a curator and researcher who explores queer and feminist discourses and the practices of artists working on the periphery, all right? And she is the assistant curator. She's assistant curator at Wrightwood 659, and she recently curated or assistant curated the Martin Wong Chinatown USA exhibit. And we are here to talk about that particular exhibit because it is live right now. You can go see it right now through July 18th at Wrightwood 659. And Ashley, I've got a couple of pictures here, and I would love to show them and us talk about them.
Let's jump right in.
Okay. Let's start off with Martin. This is him, right?
Yeah, so he was a character. So he grew up just outside of San Francisco's Chinatown, which is actually the oldest Chinatown in the United States, which has a really kind of rich history, which ended up impacting many of the other Chinatowns throughout the United States in terms of architecture and approach to building out those communities. And he was really inspired by the architecture and also the kind of objects and paintings and artifacts and memorabilia that he would kind of collect from that neighborhood. He started this collection when he was really young, at the age of 12. And then throughout his career, which was unfortunately cut short due to HIV/AIDS in 1999. But like throughout his career, he did kind of pull references from this collection of his. He, right away kind of became immersed in the psychedelic community, like when he got out of school at Humboldt State University. And was one of the kind of main aesthetic forces of this kind of experimental queer performance group called the Angels of Light Free Theater. One of his notable, one of the notable kind of performances. I say performance because it was more like a happening. It was kind of a lot, like everything going on. But he worked on this performance called Peaking on Acid, and helped with the costume design and the set design, flyers. And this is really something that both kind of like the large set painting, like impacted his later practice and like painting big. His paintings are huge. Like when you walk into the space, you're like truly immersed because they're like, 6 foot by 4 foot or,
Wow.
Paintings.
Wow. And we have pictures of this. Of this. What also I think is really amazing when you begin to learn about artists. Now, his work is up in this gallery, of course, in your gallery, but you find that they've always been multidimensional. They have found ways to practice their art or express themselves in so many different ways. The stage, to writing, to music, to painting. I mean, if you're an artist, you often can't be pigeonholed to just one thing. You actually are usually pretty darn good at a lot of things. It's just, which one has captured you and which one has resonated with other people. Oftentimes, it might not even be the one you love to do more than the others. But to your point, around the size of his pieces, right? We've got this picture here. That's not the one. This picture here, even though we love seeing Martin.
Yeah.
This is a picture of the gallery, right?
Yes. So this is a view of part of our 3rd floor gallery. And the other painting that you had up, you actually see that in the background here. It's one of the works that he made for his Chinatown, USA exhibition in 1993, which is the exhibition that where he first premiered these kind of Chinatown works that he made throughout his life, but kept kind of secret because he was afraid of being stereotyped as a kind of Asian American artist. But they're pretty wild. They are enmeshed with these like almost cartoon-like depictions of Chinatown imagery. The one that we're looking at is Chinese New Year parade. There's like characters from the Peking opera, or like which is a traditional Chinese opera, also called Beijing opera. So they have these like their face painted with these like really exaggerated costumes, and there's a lot of kind of gender bending within that form of performance, which Martin was fully aware of and really interested in. And so he often referenced these performers who were usually men typecast as women. And that's the kind of gender bending that play happens like within the contemporary Peking opera now, where you're typecast based off of like tones and features and pitches versus like your gender, which is really interesting. And he was, if I don't know, do you want to bring up the actual painting?
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it.
We can talk a little bit about it more in depth. Yeah, so one of my favorite parts of this painting is there's a little kid that's in the foreground at the bottom, and that's Martin Wong himself. He put himself in the painting as a kid, and you kind of see these like this explosion of color and light and characters like around him. And he does this, he like did this because he is referencing his childhood, like his like childhood memory of San Francisco, and San Francisco's Chinatown. Many of the San Francisco Chinatown pieces he painted while he was living in New York. So he's kind of collaging memory, these kind of postcards and photographs that he collected, and also stories from his mother and his Aunt Nora, who was kind of like a burlesque dancer
Yes,
in
burlesque.
the Chinatown area, like in the 1930s.
Yep.
And so he has these like, it's almost like a hallucination or like a dreamlike world that he's like depicting from the view of a child. And that's one of the reasons why I really love this piece, because it's so rich with these references and layers, and you can see like all of these influences from out his life that come through in this piece.
It's so vibrant. The colors are so vibrant, and there's so much to see. You could probably this is just seems like to be a small piece of it based upon the other picture, right? But it feels like there's so much to take in. There's the background that looks like businesses, right? And but then there's these two ladies on the right, and then it seemed like an angry lady on the left, and then standing in front of Martin, and there's all these little heads. Like there's just so much to take in. And what I think is really significant about what you said was how he didn't want to be seen as this Chinese American artist, right? Which I think is the case for so many people, especially then, who didn't want to get pigeonholed into being seen as just being able to do one thing really well. And that hindered so much. Imagine if he felt free enough to be all of who he was then, what he may have been able to create.
Yeah, and I think that is when you were speaking about that earlier, like I think Martin is such a great example of this like being a multiplicity or like this, you know, instead of just kind of falling into one version of the identity or feeling like he needed to pick a side of like being, you know, more connected to Chinese heritage or American or like his Americanness, or like his queer identity. You know, he just kind of collaged and added on more. He playfully referred to himself as Chino Latino. Yeah, which, you know, and like what kind of twist tails a little bit sometimes, like claiming to be a quarter Mexican when his stepfather was, you know, Mexican, Chinese American. And so, you know, he would kind of like blur the lines with things. And like instead of kind of choosing one, he just added more and became more. And yeah, this kind of multiplicity of worlds. And, you know, there's a quote from him that says that he never felt like an outsider to anything. And I think that maybe that's because he just, you know, jumped right in to any like space that he was interested in. He was also like a collector, and while he was living in New York, he started the first museum of American graffiti. He like started collecting like all this work from graffiti artists in the Lower East Side. And yeah, like collecting their black books and trading for pieces. He never, you know, made graffiti himself that we know of. But this is like a huge resource that he kind of had the foresight to recognize. And now it's in the collection of the City Museum of New York. And we were lucky enough to bring that work into the exhibition. And just to like the point that you said, I think that it's important to show that like this was not his entire practice. It was a component of him, and to show like that in context of these other kind of parts of him, and to see the way that they connect rather than how it is different or like separate from these other things that or these other paintings, this other work, his other practices. Like he was all of it.
He was all of it. And I think that probably makes it harder for you to do your job really well. So there's over 100 pieces. Is that right? Did I hear that right?
Yes, that's true. Paintings, ceramics. He started as a ceramic artist. Drawings, poems. He was a poet and self-published his own kind of book of poems in 1968, and we have a reprint of that in our book nook for those who are interested, along with a catalog that we produced specifically for this exhibition. But yeah, he had such a vast practice, and they all these kind of pieces relate to each other.
Yeah, they absolutely. I can see how they do because they're. I mean, he's at the center of all of them, so
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of like you
Just like
get.
that painting, he's at the center.
He's at the center, right? So you kind of can connect all the pieces as you learn more about him and where he is in that moment. Is he in San Francisco in that moment? Is he now in New York in that moment? I mean, I think this is something else that we ought not ever take for granted when it comes to artists is that they're wherever they are geographically also influences so much of their work at whatever time and space that it happens because San Francisco is so incredibly different than a New York. And both with such vibrant queer scenes, vibrant, I'd imagine Chinese American neighborhoods, and the culture, the words, the language, how we move is just so different. So his influence in both of these sides of the country have to be shown in his work.
Yeah, I mean, I think even it's evident in especially his Lower East Side paintings, where he would literally, he was so aware that the neighborhood was rapidly like changing and gentrifying, like even when he was living there in the 80s and 90s, and he would include the intersection of the streets on the bottoms of many of the works from that place to kind of document them in time. And yeah, he would talk about how yeah, I painted this of like stanchions on 4th Street, and like now this building is no longer there, and
Wow.
So he was very aware of that, of his paintings as these like documentations of place.
In today's world, that really resonates with me as someone who is involved in digital media. And I'm always thinking about how are we actually going to preserve the things that we're creating that only exist on the internet. When someone can flip a switch and all of a sudden the internet can be gone. How are we archiving and preserving these moments, this moment in time, right? Because I'd imagine whatever intersection he depicted is night and day different today than it was when he depicted that moment. And I think it's so important for us to really, really be thinking about how do we preserve and archive our time on this planet for hundreds of years to come. So folks know that not only were we here, but how we resisted and how we lived, especially during this time. Ashley, how long did it take y'all to curate this?
Well, Yasufumi Nakamura, who I worked on this exhibition with, he has been working on it for probably about 5 years or so.
Wow.
And I came in towards the end for about the last year and a half. So I've been working on it with him. So yeah, and it's been such a pleasure to become immersed in Martin's work and learn more about this. Like really, he's one of the greatest 20th century artists, I think, in the United States. So yeah, I hope everyone gets a chance to come and see the work and learn more about it and him and the places that he was and the communities that he was connected to while he was making it, because I think that's really part of his intent and the production of these works is to kind of document the places that he was in and the communities he was a part of.
Yeah. And I loved all the intersections here, right? We're talking queerness. All right. We're talking being gay in the 80s and 90s. We're talking being Chinese American, right? Which I think is often invisible in this country, Chinese Americans, right? And he's weaving all of that, his lived experience, into his art. I didn't even know there were ceramics come through. I think there's probably lots to see. And I think that that's pretty dope. If there was one thing you wanted to share to anybody who was like, I don't know if this is really my jam, what would you say to them about why they should come see it?
Well, I mean, I think that I guess like just from the conversation that we've been having, you know, like this is truly an opportunity to see spaces and environments that have changed a lot since the time that Martin was alive. So you get to see another version of the world, like through his eyes, through his work. And I think that is such a great and rare opportunity. We have at least 10 works in the exhibition, which have never been seen before. And it's a really amazing opportunity to see so many works by this artist that are very rarely seen in one place. Also, I just want to call out, we have some great public programs coming up, including one, a free program at the Chinese American Museum here in Chicago on May 21st about the kind of hybrid qualities of his writing practice in relation to language. He never learned Chinese languages and also incorporated American Sign Language and these other kind of like, and Spanish and other things like into his work. So it's kind of looking and addressing at his relation to language as image. And I think it'll be a really fantastic program with Larry Lee, Vivian Yi, and Lisa Chen. So 3 really amazing speakers.
So what I think is really cool about that is that you all are going out into the community to help spread the word about the exhibit at the gallery, right? I think that it's sort of like the academic, what do they call it? It's like sometimes things can just be in a certain place that can feel very inaccessible to people, right? And I think art galleries can feel inaccessible to some people. They can be like, why am I going to an art gallery? Like, child, because it's really cool things there, but you don't know how cool or how much you will enjoy it until you actually get to experience it. So I think it's pretty cool that you all are doing programs around the exhibit to help encourage people to go actually see it versus the whole theory of if you build it, they will come. Well, we can build it, right? And we should invite people to come. So a family, I want you to go do this. Visit Wrightwood659.org. Okay. I want you to go do that. You can learn more not only about this exhibit, but y'all got another exhibit going on too right now, Dispositions.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No.
No, it has a long name and it's really dope. But this exhibit brings together 40 works by 36 contemporary artists from across Latin America, which I think is so great that you all are centering folks of color, right? Who often get left out of the conversation. So you got Martin Wong and his exhibit centering his Chinese American experience. And then you all have Dispositions that is centering the Latin American experience.
Yes, that is another exhibition. It's on our second floor, co-curated by Jonathan Katz and Eduardo Carrera. There's a kind of wide range of media, including video, installation, performance, sculpture. And I also want to call out that we have a bi-weekly screening of about 8 different video works. It's about 3 hours long, but you can come and leave as you want. There's popcorn, and it's in a nearby church that's maybe like 3 blocks away from the gallery, the Lincoln Park Presbyterian Church. And that's, you know, like it's easy to just kind of walk in, and we welcome everyone to come there as well if you want a little taste of the exhibition before you go.
That is so cool. I don't know who's coming up with these ideas, Ashley, but y'all keep them coming. Okay. I think that's so great. Making collaborations within community. I mean, that's what we do, I think, so well here in Chicago, family. So visit, please, Wrightwood659.org. All right. Tell a friend about the Martin Wong exhibit and the fact that you should go. It's up once again, it's up now and through July 18th. Yes. And so go. Take a Saturday, do something in the arts. And this is a beautiful thing to do. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And yeah, I hope to see you at the gallery soon.
I'm planning on it. I've got so much time. July 18th feels like so far away. I've got now. I'm gonna get through Pride season. I feel like I'm gonna get there in July.
Perfect. So we'd love to have you.
I feel like that's the perfect time. I can't wait. All right. I'll see you then.
Yeah, it's great talking with you.
Yeah, it was great talking with you too. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Family, that's what we do here on Queer News Live. We're just having fun, amplifying LGBTQ stories happening not only in Chicago, but across the country. I'm excited that today's was about a Chicago art gallery that is centering queer art. In this particular case, Martin Wong and a Chinese American. Not to mention they got dispositions happening too. There's so much happening in the city, family. There's so much for you to get into. I hope you choose to do so. Hope you tell a friend, okay? And don't forget, we here. Yes, Mondays at 7 o'clock p.m., Thursdays at 12 o'clock Central. And don't forget the pod, yeah? We drop it every Monday morning. Literally, haven't missed a week in over a year and a half. That's commitment. You understand? Independent media at its finest is what we're doing right here at E3 Radio. So don't miss a week. And if you do, just binge it. Just binge it. I'm sure half the stories you have not heard about. And that's why we do the work. Yes, we are E3 Radio, your number one stop for queer news done right. See you next week.